throws it back up top. James puts up the three. Oh! Doncic pulls up, three-pointer. Bang! Bang!
Welcome back to the Double Trouble podcast. Well, it's been a few weeks. I think it's been like 3 weeks. This last episode has been a long time. I went out for a while once again, but I was recording every few days. It was very consistent. I was happy with that. So I was alright with taking a few weeks off of this. I missed I missed the semifinals. I missed the majority of the semifinals. The last episode, I made my predictions for the semifinals, and now all those series are over. I'm not gonna really go into too much time to I don't even think I'm gonna do that at all. I don't think we're gonna break down the semifinals. You know those series. You know how they went. We're already 3 games into the conference finals, so I think I'm just gonna spend my time talking about that. And there's a lot of other things to talk about in the NBA world. This won't be another All-NBA episode. There's one thing to talk about in the NFL. That's the Julio Jones trade, which happened a day after the last time I recorded, which, sucks. But I can talk about it now, almost a month later. But nevertheless, that's what I will do. We're going to start with the NBA. I'm going to start with a few coaches that have been hired since the last time I recorded. The Blazers hired Chauncey Billups yesterday. And a few days before that, the Mavericks. A lot of things went on with the Mavericks. Rick Carlisle stepped down. They fired their GM and replaced him with Nico Harrison. That's wild. That group of Carlisle, Cuban, and Donnie Nelson have been together for years. They won a championship together. And for two of them to be gone from Dallas in one offseason is interesting. It's kind of crazy to me, but nevertheless, that's what happened. And that was signed to hire Jason Kidd. I think comparing Jason Kidd, I think Jason Kidd's gonna be a better coach now than he was when hired with Milwaukee, because you have to look at the situation in Milwaukee. Jason Kidd was hired to coach the Bucks, and he had Giannis. He didn't have a great team when he got that job, but he had Giannis, who had the potential to be a star, but no, I don't think many coaches could actually capitalize on that potential, because not a lot of coaches knew what to do with Giannis, knew what to think of Giannis. Giannis was rare when he first came in the league. He was extremely rare. It was a 6'7" dude. Hey, we don't know what to do with him. We just know he can't shoot very well. He shoots threes, he hits threes some of the time. He doesn't have any weight on him yet, but we think he has the potential to be a star. So yeah, you're supposed to unlock that potential. And it's not like Jason Kidd ruined Giannis. Giannis, I don't think Jason Kidd's the reason Giannis developed. Giannis developed on his own. Jason Kidd put him at point guard, put him at shooting guard. They didn't know. Giannis gained all that weight, and once he committed to gaining all that muscle and weight, his 3-point shot was almost gone. He had too much muscle to be going and taking 5 threes a game. Which is a little bit Jason Kidd's fault, because Giannis did have a clean jumper at one point. And Giannis didn't get all that muscle on his own. His coaches obviously told him, hey, this is what we think you should do. And Giannis followed. And that's what happened. But I don't think that was a bad thing for Giannis. He became better inside. He became an MVP. Under Mike Budenholzer. You can say it's not the coach's reason that happened, but that's a discussion for another time. Nevertheless, Jason Kidd to Dallas, which Jason Kidd got a few years to learn under the Lakers, and I think that's great for him. Jason Kidd's gonna be a better coach than he was in Milwaukee. He fits better as a coach under this Dallas team than he did in Milwaukee, because the star player of the Mavericks, his skill set is actually closer to Jason Kidd's skill set. Jason Kidd wasn't that bad on Brooklyn, but he was pretty young on Brooklyn. It was weird. There were players on the team that were older than Jason Kidd. So that was interesting. Kidd as the Brooklyn coach. And in Milwaukee, he just didn't fit as a coach. Giannis liked him He's a coach a lot of players have good relationships with, and when trying to appeal to players in free agency, a coach that players have good relationships with. Dame has a good relationship with Jason Kidd. Luka liked him. So having a coach like that is never a bad thing. I don't think this is the hire that's gonna propel the Mavericks to the promised land. But how many times do you look at a coach and be like, oh yeah, this is the reason this team got so much better? Not a lot. Not a lot. But yeah, Jason Kidd is I honestly, and I'll say this right now, Becky Hammond is probably better than both Billups and Kidd, and I definitely thought she deserved a head coaching job, which there's still two teams left. I think the Pelicans and the Wizards. The Pelicans and the Wizards are still available, and there's still left to hire a head coach. I would be very surprised if he doesn't get one of those jobs. Very surprised. I definitely think she deserves one of them. And if she doesn't, I would obviously come here back and talking about it. So Jason Kidd, I think he's going to be all right for Dallas. He's going to definitely be a downgrade from Rick Carlisle. I don't think there's such thing as upgrading from Rick Carlisle. He's one of the best coaches of all time. Nevertheless, Rick Carlisle went to Indiana, which is where he coached before. We have no idea why Rick Carlisle really stepped down. He wasn't fired. He stepped down. There are rumors that Rick Carlisle had a bad relationship with Luka Doncic. I don't know about that because, listen, Luka Doncic has been in the league for 3 seasons. You're telling me Rick Carlisle just decided to step down after the 3rd season if he's had a problem with Luka for 3 years? I don't know. I don't necessarily know. So I don't know what to believe about that. But Rick Carlisle went to Indiana, which was entirely his choice. He decided to step down. He probably decided to go to Indiana. He probably got offers from every team. And there was no even interview. They talked about Rick Carlisle. It seemed like Rick Carlisle wanted to go there. He was probably already got relationships with some people in the organization. He obviously coached there before, and that's the decision he made. I think, again, like I said earlier, not many coaching hires propel a team from bad to really good, but the Pacers already have the pieces. They're not going to rebuild yet. I don't think. They've never had a year when everybody was healthy. Caris LeVert was definitely an upgrade from Victor Oladipo. I think Caris LeVert's a very good player. You're going to have LeVert. You're going to have Warren healthy. Warren was not healthy last year. You're going to have Sabonis. I don't know about Miles Turner. You're going to have a draft pick. You're probably going to get some pieces in free agency. And I don't know what is the move that propels the Pacers to the height they need to go to. But I think Rick Carlisle as a coaching hire for a team that had problems with coaching for a long while, they shouldn't have fired Nick McMillan. I was always against that decision. But nevertheless, I think Rick Carlisle's a very good hire for them. With the pieces he already has, basically going to be a good team next year. They should be back in the playoffs. Yeah. The Blazers hired Chauncey Billups, and that got a ton of backlash, which made Dame upset, because Dame was getting backlash from quote-unquote Blazers fans about a hire that he had something to do with, but he's not the reason that they hired Chauncey Billups. Dame does not deserve backlash for this decision. I don't know, right? I don't know how good of a coach Chauncey Billups will be for Portland. But if this is the reason that Dame gets out, that would be pretty bad. But I don't think so, because they saw Dame's reaction, they saw everybody else's reaction, and they still went through with giving him a 5-year deal. So, I think if it was that serious that Dame was gonna leave, if they hired him, they wouldn't have went through with the 5-year deal. After that, I don't think that would have happened. So, I don't think Dame's out of Portland. But if he is out of Portland, there's obviously destinations. I've said this a bunch. I want to see him in New Orleans. I think New Orleans has the pieces, I want to see Dame and Zion together. Put pieces around Dame and Zion. That is a championship level duo. It is. Dame, like Ingram, maybe Kira Lewis, a few picks. That put Dame and Zion together. You're winning a championship. Whether it's now or a few years in time, you are winning a championship. That's what I want to see happen. But, I don't know if that has the highest chances. I don't know if the Pelicans are willing to do that. But, I don't know. That's what I want to see happen. And finally, for coaching hires, this is the last one I'll talk about. The Boston Celtics hire Ime Udoka from assistant for the Brooklyn Nets. I think that was a great hire. Ime Udoka will be very good for Boston. I don't know a ton about Ime Udoka, but I know he's a good coach. I know he is what Boston needs. I don't know. Disconnect Brad Stevens. He was their coach for a long time, and he wasn't a bad coach. Him slipping down really came out of nowhere. So I don't know if it'll be an upgrade from Brad Stevens, but he won't be a downgrade. That's what I know. They're both good coaches, and Boston should be good again. Next season. That's it for the coaches. Like I said, I don't know a ton about coaches. I'm not gonna go and try to be an expert on these hires and tell you, oh, this is gonna make this team really good. I just give my initial thoughts on hiring. But yeah. Conference finals. Next in the NBA. We've got 2 series going on right now. Hawks-Bucks game 3 was yesterday. This might be posted on YouTube after the Clippers and Suns game already starts or after it's finished. But I recorded this before the game started. I think the Suns will wrap their series up today. At home, they've only lost 1 game at home this entire postseason, and I feel like that needs to be talked about more. They lost game 2 to the Lakers at home, and that's the only game they've lost at home. The only one. The Lakers took the second game, that was in LA. They didn't lose against Denver, and the Clippers took 1 game, and that was in Los Angeles. So, I don't believe they're gonna lose their second. Questionable wins in this series. The in-love was not a questionable win. You can say calls on that whatever you want. No, the Suns won that game fair and square. Last game was that was a bad ref game, but it was a defensive battle. When games are defensive battles, a lot of times it comes down bad reffing does the job, but I don't think that's the reason the Suns won that game. The Clippers had 10 shots to take the lead, and they didn't take the lead. The Suns did not win that game because of reffing. The Suns won that game because they played great defense down the stretch, and they ended up being the first team to extend the lead. And then Paul George missed 2 free throws. Not 2 free throws, he missed 1 free throw. He missed 1 free throw later on. Boogie had a terrible intentional miss. The Clippers just needed to intentionally miss free throws. It wasn't, and that much happened. That was terrible down the stretch. Clippers had a terrible game. Really, the Suns also were terrible. Devin Booker, Chris Paul have had back-to-back bad games. I think they'll rebound tonight in Phoenix. I hope. Devin Booker was frustrated. Devin Booker took off his mask because I guess he thought he wasn't playing well with it. It didn't really do him no luck. After the mask, he had 1 mid-range jumper. He pulled up, he knocked it down over, I think, Reggie Jackson. But besides that, in the fourth, he came out from campaign. He got in foul trouble. He ended up getting fouled out. Chris Paul was still good. It's because Chris Paul had 10 points on bad efficiency, and I can say he was still good. Chris Paul was playing good defense down the stretch. He hit a lot of clutch free throws. He didn't have a Chris Paul game or Chris Paul masterclass, but he did what he needed to do to win that game down the stretch, and that's all you can ask from a star player, right? But in these last 2 games, the Suns have played bad. Their role players haven't been incredibly good. Chris Paul and Devin Booker have, some big shots in the game, but they struggle ultimately. The Clippers have been very good defensively in these past 2 games. They figured the Suns out in a way. Patrick Beverley has played incredible the past 2 games. But at the end of the day, You can play good defense, but the Clippers are heavily reliant on their three-point shooting. Small ball lineup with Morris, Beverly, George, like Reggie Jackson. When they use that lineup, they're going to be shooting a ton of threes. A ton. Because that's what a lot of the, like, that's the strengths of a lot of the people in that small ball lineup. Batum. But when those threes aren't falling, the Clippers are ineffective. You saw that in Game 7 against Denver last year. Like, when you're a team that's so reliant on your three-point shooting, the Rockets, like the 2018 Rockets, the reason they lost that series to the Warriors, because they missed, 18 straight threes? And why are you taking 18 straight threes? But when you're so heavily reliant on three-point shooting, you're going to have a game where they don't fall. And when you have that type of game, you're probably going to lose. Chris Paul hadn't played in 11 days. He was better in this game than he was the game before that. I didn't expect him to be super good in Game 3. He hadn't played in 11 days. Devin Booker is playing through a broken nose, which shouldn't affect his shooting. I don't know why he's been so bad. He gets screens. Like, I don't know why it's been difficult for him to draw separation off Patrick Beverly. But if Devin Booker and Chris Paul are going to play bad, they need DeAndre Ayton to show up. They need DeAndre Ayton to play incredible basketball, all-star level basketball, which he can do. He did that in Games 1 and 2, and he did that in Game 4. Game 3, not a great game for DeAndre Ayton. Zubac was getting a lot of offensive rebounds over him. Zubac just played insane. Zubac was very good in Game 3. And in Game 4, too, Zubac played solid in Game 4. I probably talk a lot of crap about Zubac because there's games where he misses a post shot 2 feet away from the rim. Like, how do you miss that? He misses a defensive rebound. And he did have something. He got the rebound. Chris Paul knocked it out of his hands, and the Suns got another possession where they ended up scoring. That was one of the reasons they won that game. Zubac, you'll hate on Zubac for that, but Zubac in these past 2 games has been one of the main reasons the Clippers are in it. They have a bad possession, they miss a 3, but Zubac is cleaning up the boards and he's drawing a foul. Which, Aiden's got to be better on the defensive glass. He had 20 rebounds last game. He's got to be better on the defensive glass. But Zubac did get 8 rebounds over him. And Aiden could not allow that to happen. Because Zubac was getting and-ones in Game 3. Zubac was literally great. He was great. Then you have Paul George, which that's who the Clippers' chances in the series rely on. That's their guy. PG-13. And he's been good. He's been good in these playoffs. He had very good games against Utah. He's the reason they won that series. He's been good against the Suns, but he's in the clutch. He's just had moments where he keeps taking. He's been missing threes the whole game. In the fourth quarter, he still takes 3 more. The amount of threes Paul George is taking, I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it. Paul George is not doing highlight dunks over 3 people anymore. He's still a very good mid-range shooter. He's a very good finisher. He should not be taking a bunch of spot-up threes. Reggie Jackson, there was plays where he's fading the whole clock and just taking a 3 that goes off the rim. But when the Clippers threes are falling, they're incredible. That's the reason they beat the Jazz. Every 3-pointer was falling late in that game. Reggie Jackson wasn't missing. Terrence Mann wasn't missing. Paul George wasn't missing. Batum wasn't missing. But they need that type of production to win a game. And even when they get the type of production, they barely win. Against the Suns in Game 3, they won by 10 points. And they played. That was one of their best games of the playoffs. Without Kawhi, of course. I don't think... And for them to even win that game, Chris Paul and Booker had to have some of the worst games of their careers. They were very bad. And Ayton wasn't great. First game, I could point at Ayton and be like, he wasn't great. The Clippers had an incredible third quarter. And they were down 16 at one point in this game. They had an incredible third quarter. They just could never take the lead. But I think the Suns are going to win this game. But the key to the Suns to win this game, they're going to have a third quarter raft. They've been having these third quarter rafts all playoffs. You keep the game close, you're winning at halftime, but then in the third quarter, they hit 10 threes in a row. And nothing you can do about it, but you have to keep the pedal on the gas after halftime. I think Booker will bounce back. It's Chris Paul, I don't know. Chris Paul's very good against Denver, and then got into COVID protocol, then had a few rough games. But I think the Suns will close the series out and go against either the Hawks or Bucks in the finals, which is a good segue into that series. We're 3 games in to this. Trae Young is questionable. Trae Young, the referee caused Trae Young to get injured. He hit Trae Young's foot. The referee was way too close to the players. Why is the referee ever in a position where a player can bump into him or he can hurt a player? That's the whole point of the referees jogging around the sidelines. I think the referee should lose his job for sure. The whole point of you having the referees jog along the sidelines is so that doesn't happen. That should not happen. Anyway, Trae Young's questionable. He was not looking the same late quarter, but he'll get time to rest. I believe he'll play. If he doesn't play, the Bucks will win that game, and the Hawks are not escaping a 3-1 deficit. I refuse to believe that, and this series will be over. I have the Bucks in this series. I have the Bucks-Suns finals. But I think without Trae Young, this will go 6 games. With Trae Young, this will go 6 games. Without Trae Young, the Hawks will not win another game in the series. You just looked how they looked late. But Chris Middleton, please give respect to Chris Middleton. I understand Trae Young wasn't good enough. Trae Young couldn't walk. But Chris Middleton literally went crazy in the fourth quarter. And I just love to see it. Chris Middleton, you'll have crazy takes. You'll have people crap on him all year. But when he is on, he is on. When he is giving you those 35-point games, he is elite. I just wish he can be elite every game. I just want to see a level of consistency from Chris Middleton. Just if he is elite, and Giannis is giving you 30 and 13, that Bucks team is winning the finals. That's always how it's been. But it's been Chris Middleton not playing like a second star. But at his best, I know he is a second star. So that's what infuriates me when he has these bad games in the playoffs. I'm not going to criticize the player for having bad games. Everybody has bad games. But you're having these bad games in the playoffs. The time where you just cannot have these games. So that's what I have to think. Chris Middleton, I love to see him do good because he's a great player. It's consistency, a problem I have with Chris Middleton. Giannis is great. Giannis has been great this whole playoffs. He's literally putting up historic numbers. And you'll have people hate on Twitter just because he takes too long to shoot a free throw. Unbelievable. I'm not a part of the Giannis hate group. I will slander him when he deserves it. When he airballs 2 free throws in a row, yes, that's going to be some cause for slander. But besides that, I'm not gonna go crazy on Giannis. Giannis has been playing amazing. And they're 2 games away from the finals. They just gotta win 2 more. I think they'll do it. And this is the year Giannis is finally gonna make his first finals. I believe. It's just great to see the Bucks doing well. But yeah, that's all I got to say about that series. The Hawks are still a good team. With Trae Young, they did win game 1. They were blowing them out to begin this game. But and even in game 1 where the Bucks lost, they didn't get blown off the floor. They were Chris Middleton shot away from going to overtime. Come on. The Bucks are winning this series in 6 games. If Trae Young does not play, it's going to be in 5. Next, we have the only thing in the football we'll talk about. I'm not going to go too long on this because it is big news, yes. But it's not like I'm not going to spend half the episode talking about this. Only reason for that is because it happened 3 weeks ago. You've probably got the information you needed to get from it. I just haven't recorded it well. And we'll talk about it. So Julio Jones was shipped to the Tennessee Titans. First of all, this is still for the Titans. What? They didn't even have to give a first-round pick for a top 3 receiver in the league. I understand he has health problems. I understand he's older. I get all that. But the market for him was very thin. And I feel bad for the Falcons because they did get fleeced. A second-round pick for a generational receiver that is going to be great. He's going to add so much to the Titans. Titans won this trade. I'm not going to tell you who won this trade because I think it's obvious. I don't care if he doesn't stay healthy or not. All he has to do. This team is built to make a playoff run. They already are making a playoff run, and I think you could look to the Titans and be like, there's a problem. They don't have when Derrick Henry, there's going to be games where Derrick Henry can only get 3 yards at a time. Derrick Henry's not going to have 19 carries, 105 yards every game. There's going to be games where we're going to need to rely on Ryan Tannehill to throw you 3-4 touchdowns. And adding Julio Jones makes it so when those games where Derrick Henry is not going absolutely crazy, you have another option when Ryan Tannehill needs a number one to throw to. Now he's got a top 5 receiver in the league. I hope he stays healthy. His age is not a problem. He's still great. He's not just going to automatically be terrible next year or the year after that. No, he's going to be great. He's going to be still pretty good for a few years now. The Titans won this trade. I wanted Julio Jones to Titans. Maybe I said this on a podcast. I wanted Julio Jones to Titans. I think he fit there. And I was happy when he got traded there. He's finally going to be able to play playoff football. And the Titans are going to be great. They already were great. They just get even better. So, again, like I said, I wasn't going to go too far on that. I think I only talked about that for maybe 2 minutes. But anyways, as always, this has been a Double Trouble podcast. If you have listened to this long, thank you so much. Maybe leave a like, maybe subscribe if you enjoyed. But this has been a Double Trouble podcast, and I am out.